English, and I was more fluent at the college time and a few years after graduation. So I think I lost this fluency because I didn't use it ever after. Not at the hospital, not at the primary care center, not at the ministry. So
Okay.
I'm expecting to getting back to this point.
Mm-hmm. I see
Yeah.
that, and I'm really hoping that we can come up with a plan
Me too.
for
Yeah.
improving your English skills and improving
Mm,
your
mm,
ability to resuscitate the
mm,
level that you that
mm,
you reached at some point in your life before, and
mm.
I'm pretty sure and confident of that.
Okay.
Um, for this morning, particularly, let me just check the quality of the sound here. Do you hear me well, or you
Yeah,
hear?
yeah. Mm,
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
Um, yesterday night we did not finish the lesson because it was some sort of internet problem out there,
Mm,
and
mm,
what I wanted to do yesterday evening
mm, mm.
was focusing on the aspect of writing. I think when we
Okay.
start any session, we should have some priorities. So
Mm,
I'll tell you my priorities of this session, and then I want you to tell me your priorities of this session.
mm,
Since you mentioned that speaking is one of the major priorities that you have. When you are writing, I just want to administratively say that you will hear me type some keynotes. So if you hear me
mm.
typing, that's just me
Okay.
taking notes while I'm talking to you.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So today is Friday, January 8th, 2020, and then we started at 10. Um, what I want to focus on this morning is touch base with you. This is an expression that we commonly use in English. To touch base is to
Touch.
touch.
What does it mean?
Touch base. It means to review or visit some key aspects that we talked about before.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay, reviewing. You mean yes. So.
perfect. So that's pretty much the meaning of touch base. It's a common
Mhm.
American expression,
Okay.
and it's coming from I think baseball.
Mm,
Anyways, regarding of historical background of this expression, we need
mm,
to have two priorities from this session. First priority is to touch base on your speaking skills because
okay.
eventually you are going to need that for the purpose of
Mm,
passing and getting very higher
mm,
score in
mm,
IELTS. And
mm,
second, we need to focus on your writing. Now, I've noticed that when you started writing, you had some challenges out there, especially
mm.
in the introduction. But
Yes.
just like any other class or workshop or session or whatever they call it, we need to start at
Mm-hmm.
a certain point. Like we cannot like scatter our effort everywhere because we are not going to end up
Mm,
reaching any
mm,
point from this session
mm,
unless we set some objectives and goals for the
mm,
purpose of this session. So this session, this month, we will focus
mhm,
on writing for academic for IELTS,
mhm,
and we indirectly improve our speaking because I'm talking to you right now. You're talking to me right now. We're
mm,
we're exchanging vocabulary, and
mm.
we're positively trying to improve and give each other some positive confidence and self-esteem.
Okay.
Generally speaking,
Mhm,
you've had long time no practice, and I want to ask you to tell me a little
mm,
bit about your history with English, with speaking, how you improved yourself, how you came to be. By the way, you're really good English
mm,
speaker. just for your
Um,
information. And this is not a
I'm not.
compliment. This is just reality.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping for more actually, because I love this language. The way that I improved myself when I was at the secondary school is by hearing music, and
Mhm.
it was the era of the band, the Questlife practice.
Yeah.
So I improve it by translating these songs,
Hmm.
and yeah, and after I graduated the secondary school, I wanted to do English literature, but the EGOT took me very high because my rank was very high, so I went to the medical school. Um,
Do you regret that decision, or you are happy about it?
no, 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 no. I'm very happy about it.
What has
But I'm
changed in your
giving the history of
personality?
my English only. What? Sorry?
What has changed in your personality regarding going to school, to medical school? How has that contributed to change you as a person, as Zainab, as a person who has been his full inspiration to be an English translator or an English speaker, and he suddenly shifted to become an English doctor? I'm sorry, a medical doctor.
Medical, yes. Um, I think everybody has a point of view, and the doctors have another point of view.
Mhm.
So it helped me to understand a lot of kinds of people. Let's just say, like people that even my parents didn't uh, uh, knew they exist. Like different kinds of people, different kinds of issues. I went to places that I did my trainee period in a very, very, very far away village that even my dad don't know where it exists.
Where is it?
It's even exists. Something called I don't know if you know Trechi, if you hear about it.
Where is it? Is it in the south of Iraq or in the north of the country?
No, it's not to the south, not even in the north. I don't know. It's somewhere there in El Husseiniya, I think,
Okay, so
far
it's in
away
the
from where.
suburbs of Baghdad.
Yeah, so it helps me to be in charge and to be responsible. This responsibility,
Hmm.
to know how to make decisions, to not only to make decisions and to how to say شلون نقول يتأنى واحد يتأنى.
To slow down,
Yeah, and
keep it
making
very
decisions.
simple. Hmm.
Yeah, okay. And and if you don't know, it's not shame to say I don't know. Because you're dealing with
Perfect.
a human
Hmm.
life. So don't say that I know and you don't know anything.
So it's really risky to
Mm-hmm.
jeopardize. Let me just write that down. Word. It's, I think, a very common word. Um, to do you see that the kind of words that I'm typing in the chats or not?
I'm trying. Oh, okay, I will open it.
You see them?
My laptop have some issues, so I'm using my tablet right now.
Oh yeah. So in the tablet you can click on the Skype chat in the bottom of the
Yes.
application. It's next
Mm-hmm.
to ending the call. The red button, and it will show you the list of words that I'm typing to you. You can just have a look at them so we can be on the same page.
Okay.
Do you see them?
No, actually, I have to download the Google documents here, but I will open it from my
Um,
phone.
no, it's not a Google document. It's you can open your phone and see the words. It's a good technique where I use with my friends. So they,
Oh, oh,
so
I found it.
okay. So it's a jeopardize. Jeopardize is to risk people's life.
Okay.
If you say I know and you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that have to do with medicine or
Mm,
probably drugs that
yeah.
prescribing an overdose or underdose is going to
Mm.
risk people's life. It's going to jeopardize people's life.
Yeah,
By
as
the way,
I said, yes,
mhm,
sorry.
I'm using these academic words because we will need them. So I'm intentionally
Mm,
saying these words to you so we can have and keep a list log of them. Because at
mm,
some point when we start writing, we need to use academic expressions. And
mm,
probably rotating these academic expressions in writing is going to help us a lot to develop some solid, good quality essay when we start
mm,
writing the introduction of the essay or um, the body of the essay, the structure and the framework and conclusion.
mm. Okay.
Um, last time we talked about IELTS essay, and we will come back and revisit that
Mm,
soon. But I usually start by trying to explore your personality, your psychology, who you are as an English learner and an English speaker, and get to know you as a friend.
okay.
That is going to diminish and reduce the amount of effort that we both exert and
So
the
what?
amount of
Sorry.
exert
No, exert. Mm,
نبذل.
mm,
Uh,
mm, mm.
I'm writing that. Okay, it's
Mm.
exert. Do you hear it?
Yes, I know it, but I
Okay.
didn't hear it well.
Um, and that is also going to minimize the amount of stress and tension that you probably develop
Mm,
from this
mm,
conversation because you have so I know as a female you may have some challenges or stress developed from getting to know me and to start a conversation and probably fearing that you may not leave a positive
mm,
impression in my mind regarding your English level, but that's totally
mm,
okay.
mm,
You're dealing with patients, I'm dealing with learners, so we are both on the same page. we are we are on the same boat, as we say in English. Uh,
mm,
and we are on the same boat because we are dealing with different cases, and every case
mm,
is independent and unique by in and out of itself. And
mm,
in order to prescribe the right medication to the cases, we need
mm,
to run a diagnostic test
mm,
for each one of the cases. So I'm just trying
mm,
to explore to get to know you more and to help you open uh, your mind to talk about so many different things. That's why I'm talking a lot with you because we need to do some
mm. I'm
conversations.
happy with that. Mhm.
And I do have this question. Let's talk
Mm,
about let's leave the writing aside and do some conversation with you because I'm very curious.
mm,
Um, do most people in your country, like in Iraq,
mm.
prefer traditional medicine or modern medicine or a combination of two? As a doctor, what's your opinion
No,
regarding people?
well, our popularity here in Iraq is
Ah, okay.
yeah.
I
You
want
are
you
not
to
a good
talk.
doctor, and you haven't studied well if you do not write, uh, let's just say, even just one single
هذا
medication, and
هذا
this is
السؤال
prescription.
حظك هواية.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, okay.
You have to write a lot of medicines at this prescription paper, so you are so they will be convinced that you are a very good doctor and you know a lot
Wow.
of medicine.
That's
And the other thing is that we are not patient enough. Even as a doctor, we are not patient enough to wait for the traditional remedies to work on us. We need to be very good very soon.
Now, I noticed that some people rely on homeopathy. I'm not sure.
Homeopathy is the traditional
Yeah,
medicines.
yeah, that's using plants and some
Mm,
natural
mm,
substances to supplement
mm,
the
mm.
main
The herbal
industrialized.
remedies. Yes.
Yeah. So my question is kind of like relevant to this here, and I'll repeat the question. Do you most people in Iraq prefer traditional medicine,
Mm,
modern medicine, or a combination of both? When you answer me, Zainab,
mm,
I do not want you to. Let me just remove this because it just came.
mm,
Um, what I want you to do is just to give me a detailed answer. So a short answer is not acceptable.
mm.
So an answer of relatively 1 to 2 minutes is going to be acceptable answer. An answer for 30 seconds is not acceptable.
Mm,
The reason of that is to encourage you to be more presentational when you
mm,
talk and to spend more time talking more than me. Let's say 70% of this conversation should be dominated by you. Um,
yeah.
and it's a tug of war, لعبة جر الحبل, yeah, between you and
Mm,
me, where I want to dominate the conversation and speak more because I'm very excited to talk to you, and you are the target of this conversation. So you need to spend more time talking to me,
mm,
and in this way we can just balance that and
mm,
equalize it and make sure that you're getting good quality of conversation. So I sent you the question, and I'll say it again. And I
mm,
usually start by giving you a timer for conversation. So
mm,
you are obligated to talk for 2 minutes.
mm,
That's
mm.
gonna give you a better chance of exploring different
Okay.
themes and different experiences, tapping on uh,
Mm,
various experiences that you have,
mm.
or depending on that. Okay, so I'll ask you the question again. Do most people in Iraq prefer traditional medicine, modern medicine, or a combination of both? What is your observation regarding that, based on your experience as a medical doctor?
Okay. According to my experience in this field, I found that most of our people will prefer the fast and easy way to accomplish their need, because sometimes they don't need this medicine. They just need to give it few days to just to rest, just like the simple flu, the common flu. And so what I observed is that our people, which are, as they are none, not patient,
Mm-hmm.
they want it to be very fast and very effective. So they will prefer to use the modern medicines and prescribed medicine. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But as a doctor, I have to be ensuring, and I have to be convinced. Not convinced. شلون أقول أكون مقنعة.
Convincing,
Convincible? Convincing.
convince, convincing.
Convincing to them to explain the matter that they have, and to give them some assurance. And it may be very simple, and it will pass this it will pass without any use of medicine, whether it's traditional or it is modern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my job to decide whether they need this type of medicine or the other. And I don't believe we can use the combination of the two sometimes. if I wanted to trick that patient, you know, when he have a common flu and he want to take an antibiotic, and I can give him another very simple medicine in addition to other pieces of advice that I can give him. So this can be somewhat a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's you find that one of the key features of a good doctor that reminds me of the TV show A Good Doctor. um, one of the have you seen it?
No, I didn't have the time to see it.
Okay,
Mm,
you should. So according to what I understood from you is that
mm,
a good feature in the good doctor is their ability to balance the prescription and be convincing to the learners and
yeah, they don't know
patients.
the benefits or the disadvantages. So this is my job. I have uh, to lead them to the right way.
Okay, and that leads me to my next question. Do you think
Mhm.
that there are any legal drugs that should be illegal? What about illegal ones that should be legal?
What legal ones that should be illegal? I
Do you
cannot
think
say it this. Mm,
do you think there are
mm,
any legal drugs
mm.
that we call them on counter kind of drugs that should be illegal and illegal drugs that should be legal? These are questions that are not requiring detailed scientific answer. I'm just asking this question because it may be relevant to your experience. Lots of people want to get some medicine that you think, as a doctor, is not really good to them, to their body. And there are certain medicines that are considered illegal medicines, but you think, as a doctor, they can be prescribed naturally without any side effects.
Mm. For the first part of the question, I cannot say it is legal or illegal. It is not my job to say it is legal or not. But let's just say it's beneficial or not, or it
Okay.
has a very okay. Um, what I see from my experience is that we misuse the antibiotics in very bad way. I don't think so. It's a bad way. It's in a very good way. Misuse in a very good way. So they use a lot of antibiotics, and this will make the doctor very confused because he will not know what to describe because everybody have a resistance. All of us, me, you, and everybody has a resistance to such drugs because we use it a lot. And we have to be strict to the prescription, and we have to have a control on the pharmacy because sometimes the pharmacist can behave as a doctor and give medications without permission from the doctors. And the other part of the question is the legal one that should be legal. I don't know. I don't have any opinion about that really because I don't have this experience with the drugs, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Okay.
But if I have let's just say an authority about that, I will prevent sugar. It is not a drug, but it is a poison.
So sugar is a poison.
Yeah, it's a poison. It's one of the very bad poisons that we have.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Let's
I
move
don't
on.
know. I don't have a very
Mm.
yes. What?
Do you do you feel uncomfortable using medicine from a foreign country, or you prefer to rely on the medicine that is manufactured in Iraq?
Uh, to be honest, I have much confidence with the foreign companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have شو يقولون هاي السيطرة والنوعية.
Okay, quality and control.
Yeah, they have the quality of and control on these drugs and the manufactured companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, these are just common questions that I thought probably we share together and tap on your experience regarding them. Now, with our journey as an English speaker and as an English learner, let's shift to talk a little bit about our major business, which is writing. As a doctor, how do you think writing is challenging to you as a person?
As a person or as a doctor? Do you mean?
As a person.
As a person, I think, as I said the session before, we grew up and we don't know how to express ourselves and how to give our opinion. So, yeah. And I remember that we studied writing at the third secondary school, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
correct.
it was very short time to know how to write a letter or how to write an essay about a certain subject. So these kinds of difficulties that I have, and as I said, the problem that I have in speaking or in writing is that I think too much. I think too much. When I see
So you need to
sometimes
develop some.
sometimes the solutions are there in front of you, or sometimes it is there in your mind, but when you think too much you just get lost.
Yeah, I think that's a feature of usually females, not males, when it comes to thinking.
Have a lot of drawers in our mind. Yeah.
So the thing is, for writing, I think when it comes to academic writing for IELTS, because this is our major concern right now, it's not quite challenging, and they just need to see a pattern of a good academic writer. So what they want to see that there is an indication that you know how to write. If they see this indication, if you know the structure and framework of the academic essay, you would definitely be able to pass and get higher score. To just give you a perspective of that, SAT, which is a high school academic test, it's called the Scholastic Academic Test. This test is a test that is equivalent to high school test in Iraq. In the United States, the essay that they ask them to write is 1,000 words. Okay. Now, if we're talking about balance, comparing that with IELTS just asks you to write 250 to 300 maximum words per test. Okay. And so IELTS is 30%. Well, SAT is 70% more challenging than IELTS. Why?
But it's just for English speakers. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, but if you're applying to a university in the United States and you just finished high school, they will ask you to take that test. So it's for everybody. IELTS can be taken by native speakers as well. When British Council in Iraq wanted to join me to their team, they asked me to get 9 in IELTS. So 8.5 to 9 in IELTS, and so it's really challenging. Like for IELTS, you can take the test, but the test does not exactly refer to a point on the scale. Like it shows that you are 6.5 to 7, It's not 100% 6.5. So your level is changing. It's alternating. So we cannot say, well, your level is fixed to 6.5 or 7 or 7.5. And also we have many skills. We have speaking and reading and writing and listening. And this leads me to my next question. On average, كمعدل, on average, how many pages or how many chapters do you read per month? Things that are related to medicine or not related to medicine?
Right now, none.
Okay, so on average, none per month.
But a few years back, I read a lot because all of our lectures were in English, and we have to have resources, and we have to rely on other years, the questions of other years. So I have tons of papers and how to say it, ملازم شو يسموها?
Handbooks.
Yes, handbooks, and there are a lot of resources that I have to read it and to be aware of it. But right now, none. I don't have the time for it.
Okay. You know, when it comes to IELTS, I think a key feature of a successful IELTS taker is that they need to balance the amount of reading to be able to the amount of writing. There's something that I don't know if you know about it, but writing and speaking are something we call productive skills. مهارات إنتاجية. You produce something. You produce a content in language. When you speak, you produce sound waves that have meanings. And when you write, you produce letters that, in combination, have meaning. This feature of production cannot be qualified to be good enough unless you ensure a good amount of input from listening and reading. So unless you are saturated with good amount of reading, writing cannot naturally develop because you haven't had enough chance to see and imitate writers' style. You need to ensure a good amount of input in order to good amount of output. So when we're trying to remedy and treat your writing weaknesses in some points, not to say you have weaknesses in general, but in some aspects, you may struggle to express yourself and put things in linear and straightforward and clear framework. That is just because of our lack of reading. So so we are on Franged Road.
What is it?
It's called Franged Road, or a crossroad, where should we treat the cause or the effect? When we're trying to fix the issue with when we try to fix the issue with writing, we normally trace back the cause of weaknesses in writing, and we naturally discover that the main cause of lack of good framework for writing is lack of consistent amount of reading. Now, in order to treat that, I will have to give you a task to read a chapter. And this task is not an obligation, but I assure you, I guarantee you, if I give you this task, you would love it, because the book that I will describe and prescribe to you is going to help you develop a habit of writing and learn more vocabulary and be able to consistently improve your academic writing. When we start realizing the effect of reading, we would definitely develop so much better model for writing. IELTS in and out of itself is a test that just probe. Let me write that down. Probe or checks if you have the ability and capacity to read academic essays and synthesize academic essays or not. And in order to know that, they just assign you to write this simple task of 260. By the way, people write 260, 270 words, and they still, they still have the capacity to take full mark in this test. So it's quite natural. I'm sending you this sample here just to have a look at and realize how simple and silly writing task is. It is just does not require that much of effort. So I don't know if you can download this document or not, but try to download it in your phone, and we will.
Okay.
I highlighted key grammatical points here in this essay just to give you a chance to understand what's going on. Did you get it?
Yes, I downloaded and I have to find it right now. Sample 1.
Okay, so for sample 1, do you see any words in green and yellow or not?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yellow, green, and orange. Yes.
Okay, so the one in green has some grammatical problem here. They mentioned, I strongly believe that the advantages of the cars can outweigh its disadvantages. They mistakenly wrote advantages twice. So this is a problem here, but it's okay. We're just taking this as a model example.
Okay.
This essay just got the writer almost a full mark in IELTS. So the question is, do you agree that the advantages cars bring outweigh the disadvantages? In order to get a higher score in IELTS, we just need to understand what they are asking and what they want us to write. So we need to understand that we should read the question multiple times in order to reach the level of understanding of what they want. Do not start writing directly. You should never start writing directly when you see the question. You need to understand the question. You need to ask yourself, how many examples do I have from my own experience that I can put in the body of the essay? How many paragraphs should I write? And preferably 5 paragraphs. And what should I write in the introduction? Because writing is evaluated by people. And one way we can ensure good quality result is to leave very good positive introduction for the essay, for writing. If we do that,
I have a question about this subject that you mentioned. Should I be positive always, or I have to give my own personal opinion? Because it's sometimes not positive, I think.
Listen, this is very important question, and it's important because people always get lost on what they say. And to answer this question, I can simply say it's not a matter of the content of your writing, because people in IELTS committee don't care about your political inclinations or about your opinion. They care about the writing style. So if they tell you, for example, do you recommend drinking alcohol to patients, and you say yes, they are not going to object to that if you provide them with good quality essay. And so they have standards, and these standards are, are more related to the style of writing than to the content of writing. No matter what subject you're talking about, I told you a few days ago, they brought a question: do you prefer to write with a pencil or write with a pen? So you can simply say, I prefer to write with a pencil, but you need to develop a good essay to be convincing to them. So it's not a matter of what you think of. It's just a matter of the style of writing that you do have, that you will incorporate in the essay, that will make it look positive.
Okay.
Deal?
Okay, deal.
Okay. So if we look at this sample here, what we do normally, we imitate. And so محاكاة. There are major components for successful essay. First, you need to state your statement, اللي هو البيان, whether you agree or disagree, in the beginning. So if you see the sentence in yellow, I strongly believe that the advantages of cars can outweigh its disadvantages. This is something we call a statement.
I strongly believe that the disadvantages of the car can outweigh its advantages. Okay. I got it.
Okay. This is where we normally write our statement in the beginning to state whether we agree or disagree, if the essay is to ask us to agree or disagree. Then we need to develop a structure, a framework we add the content to. Like you are not going to cook a cake in the oven if you do not have the mold, القالب, to cook it in. So you need to contain your opinion in a certain mold, in a certain cast. Okay. This cast can take many shapes, but there is a standard regular shape in the beginning, later on, in conclusion. These are regular commercial expressions that we do have. So let's go to the second paragraph. On the one hand, you see it in green. Let's have a look only on the green highlighted items.
Okay.
On the one hand,
the first reason.
Secondly, and then people may have a higher chance of carrying more potential health risks than obesity and heart attack. On the other hand, many reasons, and for many reasons, he's mentioning, firstly, significant, prominent, for example, therefore, for instance, and finally, in conclusion. See? So there is, these are, in English, these are called functional words. Functional words are words that serve grammatical purpose of dragging and grabbing people's attention so they don't lose the focus when they are reading. So when we talk, we always need to be attentive to the content, and sometimes our minds wander. يعني يسرح بالنا.
Yes.
So one key feature of successful writers is that they always keep you engaged in their academic writing. They do that by developing some mechanism for logical sequence of sentences. So they say firstly, and then before you give up, secondly, and then later on, and finally in conclusion. So you always are in marathon to trace back what they want to say and what they have in mind. That's generally speaking. So these are grammatical functional tools. We also have content words. Content words, كلمات المحتوى, like anything that can be content, not grammar. Like, for example, milk, camera, light, table, my opinion. These are words that we call content. Grammatical functional words are like is, are, therefore, thus, will, shall, all of the grammar expressions that we do have in English. Effective writing is a combination of both. Okay, so for this, what I want you to do is to see an example that we can imitate simply when we start writing our next essay. We can imitate this simply by just copying the functional words and adding our content words later on to the content of the essay. Are we clear so far?
Okay, yes.
Okay. Now, to this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Google Document because we need to balance our writing with what we talked about in in Google Documents. Do you have a link to it, or should I send?
Yes, I think that would just I will find it in my phone.
I can send it to you again if you like.
I have it right now. Okay, you can
I
stop.
see you. I see you now. Okay. Okay, so this is the question here. The question from the essay, do you think that using cars outweigh? Up until now, you will see that there is some sort of inconsistent style for our learning, but we'll get to a point that you'll start seeing it clearly. Probably you're not just quite 100% used to this style, but I prefer it's really valid. Last things that we talked about Metro is one of the inventions. First page, go to first page.
And you sent me a task.
So Metro is one of the inventions that brought a lot of easiness to our world, and it made the distances go so short. As a few years back, people took a lot of time to reach their work or their destinations. We added comments here like writing is a process, not a product. There is no final draft. Never start writing without a structure. Frame your opinion based on multiple readings. Ask yourself, what do I know about this topic? And this is something I just mentioned to you. How do you say that in English? Not how do I translate that into English. Writing is a drafting, editing, proofreading, rewriting, and avoid using words like very, something, and a good, and the good or good, anything too much, so on, in academic writing, because they are considered informal. Okay. Now, the task that we do have here is the world's wealthiest countries have increasingly been outsourcing labor-related jobs to cheaper alternatives in their nations. Write an essay supporting the case for outsourcing labors. Maybe this is a challenging question, so we are going to replace it with the same question that we already had from the essay that I just showed you. Do you agree that advantages cars bring outweigh its disadvantages? We saw a model, right? And I just want you to, if you can type now, just work with me on the introduction. So we see here, this is a sample using cars. Okay. See here. Now, do you see where I'm writing? راح نكتب هنا?
Yes. نكتب هنا.
Now, what I want you to do is just let's work on the introduction. Here is an example using
cars has been becoming becoming increasingly common in recent years. Although I think that it maintains some obvious harmful consequences, I strongly believe that the advantages of the car can outweigh its disadvantages. On the one hand, owning cars has a significant influence on the environment. The first reason is that the growth in traveling by car can lead to a rise in pollution, traffic jams, and accidents. More cars are likely to result in rocketing rate of pollution. Secondly, our dependence on cars can lead to decrease in practices, such as walking and cycling. People may have a higher chance of carrying more potential health risks like obesity and heart attack.
Okay. Now, what we are going to do is write a copy. Write a copy that looks like this one here. What we usually do is to rephrase this paragraph here. And but in our own words. We do not copy and paste that because that is going to be translated as plagiarism.
What is what?
Plagiar يعني سرقة أدبية. So we can say in modern life, transportation has taken various shapes. Something like that.
This is a question now. You rephrase the question?
Yes, I'm rephrasing the question, but I do not copy it. They say using cars has become increasingly common in recent years. Although I think that it maintains some obvious harmful consequences, I strongly believe هذا الجواب. The question is, do you agree that the advantages cars bring outweigh the disadvantages? Cars, or we can say vehicles, have taken the lead as the major transportation transportation. Let's just keep it that way. I do believe strongly that cars utility has contributed to the easiness of transportation. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm trying to help you get started writing the introduction. Now, I want you to continue giving me some short introduction here. احنا شفنا نموذج وبدنا نسوي replication استنساخ هذا النموذج or imitation هذا النموذج. This is how we can improve our writing, by doing imitation and then getting to a level of being independent writers.
نشوف. نقدر نقول misuse it if we misuse it.
Now, first of all, you need to ask yourself, do you agree or disagree?
يعني لازم sorry.
Of course.
Then
If you
okay.
you
I
agree,
will. Mm.
if you agree, you would frame all of your opinion based on the agreement. And if you disagree, you will be able to frame all of your agreement on the disagreement.
I can agree that it has that it has advantages, and if we use it the right way. But if we misuse it, then it will have a lot of disadvantages. Like if we rely mostly on using cards, then we may spend a lot of money on the fuel. We will have like the sample said, higher chances of health issues like obesity and heart attack because and yeah, I mean this kind of idea that I wanted to express it.
And I love the way you're trying to express it.
So I will try to write it down.
Okay, perfect. Now, just what I want you to do is simply write the content here on this essay, and try to make sure that you keep in mind that there are certain words that you need to embed that are related to your agreement or disagreement. If you agree that cars have more advantages than disadvantages, you can just simply state your opinion according to that. If you have opinion that is against that and you think that cars' disadvantages outweigh cars' advantages, you can develop that by writing content that supports this kind of statement. What I do recommend is reading the essay that I sent you at the beginning and see how they structure their essay. And I guarantee you it's going to take some time to be able to process writing effectively. It's multiple drafts. Usually with my learners, I go 3 or 4 or 5 drafts to get to a satisfactory level where I give them a good grade. And that takes a little bit of time and patience, of course. So just keep that in mind that it's not always necessarily the first draft that gets you the most compelling result. And
Yes.
it's very normal to have general weaknesses in the essay and the draft, and it's very normal to struggle in the beginning. But once you get to understand the structure, the whole process is going to be very natural and very straightforward and very clear. Okay. Now, at this point, what I want you to do is between now and tonight, I just want you to focus on writing the introduction, just the introduction, which is about 7 to 10 lines. Let's just say that maximum. Write it here, and when you finish writing it, just send me a text message saying, well, I finished it. I will give you comments. We will do some changes.
Okay.
And then we will talk about it. If you are available tonight, we can talk about it more.
Okay. Can I have much more example? Like
oh yeah, I will.
Much more.
Definitely, I'll send you more. I'll send you more. I just didn't want to
great.
I didn't want to overwhelm you with many samples here. I thought that one sample is going to be enough. But if you prefer more, these are 2 more that I just.
Okay, 2 more enough.
Okay. Okay, I just sent you 2 more.
Okay.
Perfect. And one last thing. You mentioned that you live in Rabai Street, correct? close to Rubai Street?
This is my parents' house, and Jafar's house is near Al Mansour.
Okay, perfect. Now, when is Jafar going to be available for a face-to-face meeting?
I'm gonna ask him. I don't know.
Okay, well, just if you can, just ask him and get back to me so we can get face-to-face with Jafar to meet him, and then get me back once you finish the introduction here.
Okay.
Okay, great. Hopefully that this meeting was useful to you to get you to a better, at least 1% better in terms of understanding the structure of writing. And we're getting there. I promise you, it's going to be a little bit struggling in the beginning, but we'll get to a level of understanding the whole structure of writing. And also, I will send you one chapter of a book. I want you to, whenever you have time, to read this one chapter, just one chapter. And we will talk about it in more details in our next meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good?
It sounds good.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Talk to you tonight if you're available.
Inshallah, thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, you too. Thank you, bye.